Hi, my name is Maggie Vanderweit, and I'm going to be talking about chairs, choosing an icon. This is my wonderful father, Ike Vanderweit, sitting on one of the chairs in 1995, a few days before he died suddenly of a stroke. It is the last photo taken of him. Strangely, I only thought of the Ike icon word connection recently. An icon is a graphic motif of a concept or ideal. Ike, my icon, symbolized by a chair. In our dining room are the chairs my dad salvaged from the prison where he taught house painting and sign painting, plus the old maple table he found rotting outside a churchyard. Starting when I was young, he refinished them for me over time to have for my own one-day house. Here is where we welcome friends and family, feast, and celebrate life's milestones. Our museum was once a poorhouse or house of industry. It now has an impressive collection of domestic artifacts. This lovely blue chair, in my very favorite color, once used by the residents, is nearly identical to the chairs used by the inmates in Dad's prison. Likely they were fabricated locally for institutional use. Many artists get ordinary objects and symbols like circles, trees, or birds to stand in for their thoughts and feelings. The stories we tell about our icons can be prosaic, intimate, global, cosmic, spiritual. In this example of his famous Bedroom and Arles series, Van Gogh's simple furniture and rooms tell complex stories. That's me. So how can we easily make images of our icons into effective reusable stamps? I take a photo, digitally alter it to make it a very crisp black and white like a poster. Next, I print it, tape it onto craft foam, and carefully cut it out with a sharp X-Acto knife, paying attention to the negative spaces. And craft foam is just from the dollar store. Obviously, we can do variations on our icon. Take lots of photos, try different objects with the same iconic theme, reduce, enlarge, do mirror images too. Change the angle or perspective when you're taking the pictures, and look for your icon in your travels to get fresh ideas. Attach the cutouts to sturdy foam core or corrugated plastic with craft glue so that they can be washed and reused many times. To make neat impressions, always wipe away any excess ink that hits the backing, as evidenced by the black smudges that are around the chairs. That's where it was wiped away. Use paper towel and Q-tips for this. Squeeze block printing ink onto a plate, brayer it around, and then roll it onto the stamp. Press into the fabric and roll firmly with a clean brayer over top. Touch up the image with a paintbrush if needed. Gently clean the stamps right away with a toothbrush, dish soap, and water. And Speedball makes a great block printing ink. Experiment with other kinds of paints too. Here are some works in progress. I use my chair icon in a variety of ways. Sometimes I print onto squares or rectangles of my own eco-dyed, chemically dyed, or painted cloth. Sometimes I print onto commercial fabric, and then I design using these blocks. The first print is usually strong and clear. The second can be ghost-like and very evocative. Both are effective in their own way. Used together, they can tell a special story. This is the beginning of Wish You Were Here, about people that I miss. You can use your icon stamp to print repeating patterns on bigger pieces of cloth. I painted the blue fabric, the blue paint on first, dried it, and then printed the chairs over top. Air dry the ink for at least a day and then iron between Teflon sheets or parchment paper to heat set, depending on the directions for the product that you've chosen. I'm starting to experiment with printing onto piece blocks. This is another work in progress. These wonky log cabins are made with commercial fabrics covered in text. Sometimes the lumpy seams create interesting effects. This quote would be called "Just Sit and Read," which my father used to say to encourage me to read when I was little. I recently had the most amazing opportunity to share this technique on Quilting Arts TV with Susan Brubaker-Knapp and Vivica Hansen-Denegra. Look how they've used chairs in the background to make the television set look warm and welcoming, just like them. And that's Susan, obviously, Brubaker-Knapp. This quilt is called Room at the Table, and it's the name of the whole chair series as well. And it celebrates Canada's policy of inclusion. My parents, as Dutch immigrants after World War II, blended with others from around the world and our own First Nations people too, to make Canada the culturally diverse, clement nation it generally is. House of Refuge honors our Wellington County's poor house, which for decades took in desperate, disabled, forsaken people who had literally nowhere else to go. Together, they all cooked, cleaned, farmed, and made a home for themselves in this large limestone building, sharing a table, sitting on these blue chairs. All of Us and Aliens Too says that we must talk and listen to each other, even when we think others are radically weird or just too different to try to understand or tolerate. All colors, all nations, all religions, all everything, all of us sitting down together till we figure it out and learn to live peacefully ever after. Belonging was my contribution to last year's spotlight auction. When there is a chair at the table for you, you belong. And I just realized that as head of the local organizing committee for the 2020 SAQA Conference in Toronto, I am actually a chair too. Ha, I hadn't even thought of that. Where there are two chairs, there's room for a friend. Welcome was my contribution to last year's benefit auction as a tribute to the way SAQA warmly welcomes all members. Really, for me, the chair icon simply represents sharing, loving, and acceptance on many levels. The gift is for this year's Spotlight auction. It's made in appreciation of many wonderful things, like getting to make art quilts, belonging to SAQA, feeling my father's love, which transcends time, and having lots of Ike's chairs where family and friends can come and sit with us for a while. Thank you for your kind attention today. Best of luck choosing a personal icon that speaks to your heart and helps you to express your textile visions. Our SAQA community is vibrant, visionary, diverse, supportive, and iconic. Let's treasure the opportunity we have to sit on chairs around these tables together here and now in beautiful San Antonio, Texas.